Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking some massive tectonic shifts in AI search and SEO pulled straight from HighDegree Marketing issue 29. We're looking at a landscape that is just changing at breakneck speed, starting with a huge foundational pivot over at Google that is completely redefining how we interact with the web. If you've been feeling the ground move under your digital marketing strategy lately, trust me, you are not alone. So let's map out exactly what's happening.
Let's kick things off with a genuinely staggering number from Google's Q2 earnings call. Now, at first glance, they posted their first negative cash flow since their IPO, which sounds incredibly alarming for a tech giant, right? But the context is wild. They spent $6 billion in a single quarter strictly on physical infrastructure. We're talking 60% of that going to servers and 40% directly into data centers. They're literally pouring concrete and building the physical foundation for a completely new era of search.
And that $6 billion investment makes total sense when you break down their revenue growth by sector. Google's traditional AdSense revenue actually fell 1% year over year, but meanwhile, their cloud revenue absolutely exploded, jumping a massive 87%. This isn't just a standard revenue update. This is a complete business model story. Google is actively shifting its financial weight away from the traditional ad-click model and betting the entire house on the massive computing power required for AI. To help us navigate this rapidly changing landscape, our agenda today covers 5 key areas. 1. The shift to agentic search. 2. AI watching your workflows. 3. Measuring your AI citations. 4. The AI content crawl trap. And 5. Why human judgment wins in SEO. Let's jump right into Section 1, the shift to agentic search and Google's massive pivot. During that earnings call, Google's CEO Sundar Pichai kept using this specific word, agentic. Basically, we're moving away from search engines that just hand you 10 blue links. Instead, we're entering the era of the autonomous agent. It's actually pretty wild to think about. Imagine a search interface, now routed by Google's super efficient Gemini 3.5 flashlight model, that doesn't just find you a recipe for dinner. It autonomously finds the recipe, extracts the exact ingredients, cross-references what you need, and places an Instacart order for you, all without you ever leaving Google. That is exactly what that $6 billion was for.
Moving on to Section 2, let's talk about AI watching your workflows, focusing on a huge new skill from Claude.
So, there's an incredible new feature in Claude Cowork called Record a Skill. Instead of you trying to write out a perfectly engineered, paragraph-long text prompt, you just turn on your screen recorder. Let's say you're compiling a really complex weekly marketing report from 3 different data sources. You just record yourself doing it once, talk through your logic out loud as you go, and Claude actually learns to execute that exact workflow autonomously the next time. It literally watches you work, learns the pattern, and turns it into a reusable button. It shifts the entire paradigm from prompting the AI to simply demonstrating for it. Up next is Section 3, Measuring Your AI Citations, courtesy of Microsoft Clarity. Based on an NP Digital survey of 500 marketers, we're seeing wildly different performance in AI citations depending on the content type. Original research just absolutely crushes everything else, earning AI citations 68% of the time. Compare that to generic blog posts, which sit at just 21%, and product pages dragging at the bottom with 11%. The takeaway? AI engines are hungry for unique data and original thought, not just rewritten fluff. And the crucial point that Microsoft Clarity's new free tool highlights is the massive fundamental difference between merely appearing in an AI response and actually contributing to it. You really don't want just a passing mention. You want to be the foundational source that the AI builds its answer upon. Why? Because Microsoft's own data shows that traffic coming from AI citations converts at 3 times the rate of other channels. 3 times! That is a massive metric you just cannot afford to ignore. And the best part is, you can now measure it for free.
Okay, let's pivot to Section 4, the AI content crawl trap and why a bulk approach is failing.
Over the last year or so, when AI made content production practically free, so many marketing teams ran the exact same playbook. They spun up thousands of AI-generated pages to rank for every keyword under the sun and collect easy traffic. But right now, across the board, those same teams are seeing their traffic absolutely plummet and their pipelines stall out entirely. It's a huge cautionary tale. So why is this scaled approach failing so spectacularly? Well, it all boils down to crawl economics.
Google simply does not crawl everything on the internet. It takes way too much computing power. They have to allocate their crawl budget based on quality signals. So when you flood a domain with thin, repetitive, AI-generated pages, Google's systems read that as a massive quality problem. They don't just refuse to rank those new pages, they will actually pull back their crawling resources across your entire site. Your new pages won't even get indexed, and your organic pipeline basically grinds to a halt, all because you burned through your crawl budget on low-quality volume.
As Search Engine Journal contributor Dan Taylor points out, AI content itself isn't necessarily the enemy here. What ruins a site is the missing editorial strategy. When you just let an AI spit out bulk pages, you're skipping absolutely crucial human judgment elements. Things like careful topic selection, rigorous accuracy checks, strategic internal linking, and genuinely asking if a page answers a real user's need. Without that human filter in place, your content volume quickly transforms from an asset into a site-killing liability.
Which brings us to our final point, Section 5, Human Judgment Wins in SEO, and the career pivots you need to make.
Nick Leroy over at SEOjobs.com shared a really brilliant insight on this. He constantly gets DMs from people trying to land their next role. But when he asks what makes them different from the 300 other applicants, the standard answer is always, well, I have years of experience. And honestly, that answer just goes nowhere today. Hiring managers are desperately looking for candidates who demonstrate curiosity and follow through by actually building things when nobody asks them to. Whether it's building a small SEO tool, launching a testing site, starting an industry newsletter, creating a GitHub project, or even volunteering to help with organic search, it shows a level of initiative that a simple resume bullet point just can't convey.
There's a quote from Leroy that just perfectly hits the nail on the head. Competency gets the interview. Being memorable is the job. By the time a hiring manager is talking to the 5th or 6th candidate, everyone can confidently talk about crawl budgets and canonical tags to get past that initial HR screening. Technical competency is literally just the entry fee now. But having concrete, human-driven projects attached to your name, things you built with your own hands and your own critical thinking, that's what makes you memorable. And being memorable is what actually secures the offer.
So, what does this all mean for you? Whether you're trying to get your website indexed by an increasingly picky Google agent, or you're trying to land your next big marketing role, the through line is exactly the same. Doing the deeply considered, strategic work that requires a real human behind it is the only way to survive and thrive in this AI flood. You can't just be a passenger anymore. You have to be a builder.
The gap between the teams moving deliberately and the teams running on old assumptions is widening every single day. To keep your strategy sharp, stay ahead of these rapid industry changes, and get more of these cutting-edge insights and actionable SEO breakdowns, you absolutely need to visit serplabseo.com. Because in a world where machines can generate endless noise, your human judgment is, without a doubt, your most valuable asset. So my question to you is, what are you going to build tomorrow?